everyone. Good morning from California. Good afternoon from the East Coast. Middle of the night from Europe.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's nighttime in Europe. Hi everyone. Good morning. We're so excited. We just gave away a class to our wax summit with Ivana from Hard Wax Solutions, and now we're going to give another class during this live with Monique from WU Aesthetics. We're so excited. So Monique, can you just request, I think I have you, Monique, moderator, so I don't know, I think you just have to, oh, here we go. We're really excited to talk about this next topic, Manzillians, because it's not talked about enough. Oh, there she is.
Okay, good. I was like, I'm like over here pressing buttons.
Hi, Debbie. We're just so excited. We just gave away a class, and we're about to give away another class with you for our Brazilian Waxing Summit. So we're super excited.
Me too.
Super excited. We're also super excited to talk about Manzillians because it is an underserved service, and there's so much money to be made, and there's so much talk. Well, anyway, first of all, before I get distracted, everyone, this is Monique Waters from WU Aesthetics. She is a licensed working esthetician in Florida. She also does education. She has her own wax. She's a mom. She's a lot of things. She's a superwoman.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
She's a wax queen. So Lisa and I met Monique last year we had met online, but that doesn't really count. We met previously online, just, estheticians making friends. And then we met at the Vegas show. We really liked her. And when we decided to do this summit, we wanted to get people that had their hands in skin for a long time, because the whole idea besides our Brazilian Waxing Summit is that you guys can learn from our mistakes. I mean, that was like the main reason why I even started the Secrets of Estheticians, because I made so many mistakes during this long, long career.
Yeah.
Also, she's laughing, even in 2023, there's a lot of misinformation about waxing.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's more than one way to wax. That's one of my deals. But we do see a lot of misinformation, and I always talk about the client protection and the esthetician protection is the first thing. The second thing is the rules. But we are going to deep dive into Manzillians. Can you tell everyone that's watching how you got started doing male Brazilian waxing?
Yeah. So I opened my first company, which is a spa I own, Wax Unique, and that was many, many years ago. But I got into it because, and this is the truth. So, on your Google listing, you've got to put all your hours and all that fun stuff. And then at the time, it's different now. At that time, it said, is it male friendly? And then it said, are you LGBTQ plus friendly? And I've always, anything I own is always very inclusive. And the truth is, I said yes, of course, because I didn't want anyone to ever feel offended or excluded. I never wanted that. So I opened Wax Unique as a Brazilian waxing center. So then, as I said, it was inclusive because it is. It's just, you want to make sure you're never offensive. Men started calling. And I think there's a stigma that you only gay men wax or, heterosexual. I can tell people I've made, in the years I've had my spa, maybe 2 gay men. All of the males who come to Wax Unique for male waxing are professional. A lot of the doctors, lawyers, judges, a lot of PGA golfers, because I think people forget men like to be clean too. It's not like a nasty thing. Trust me, when I saw the judge you know, I was very shocked when I saw the dentist, you know, but it's, I mean, I live in South Florida, and I live, like where my spa is, like right the street from the beach. So if that gives an idea of like how it is here, it's usually nice and tropical all the time. So I did it because I didn't want to ever be offensive or exclude anybody. At the most, thinking a male would come in for his ears. So how I got into the Manzillion, a man called. I'm one of those, I like money. You know, I don't care. Everyone, it's very hard to offend me. It's very, very hard to make me feel uncomfortable. I'm one of those people who I can just probably talk my way through anything. I'm a New Yorker. So, you know, when the first male called, I'm like, oh, I'm like sure. And he's like, how much? And I think at the time it was only like 55 or 60 bucks. So in my head, I'm like, yeah, you know, come on in. When I started my company, I need the money. Like, there was no mommy and daddy money. There was no funding. I have no loans. Like, I needed to pay rent. I had to pay lights. So when the first male called, he actually still comes to this day, and he doesn't even know he's the first person I ever did it on. He came in, and I you know, I was super proficient at the Brazilian. So I'm like, we're going to make it happen. And it probably took me like maybe 45 minutes to an hour. I will never forget it. To this day, he doesn't know he's my first person ever. And that's why I had there was no option. And I was not going to say, no, I can't wax you. I had rent to pay. Like, before I bought our building, that I own it now, but before I bought it, I had to pay rent, lights, water, wax, you know, yada, yada, yada. Of course. And that's a lot of money. Like, when you're first in business, like, I tell people, I don't care. Every dollar counts to me every single day. I could have 100 million and I'm still going to care about a dollar. So when he called, I don't care. And that's why what you were saying earlier, like, you know, even in 2023, the misinformation, it's worse now. It's so much more worse now compared to when I first got in. I tell people all the time, I built my companies off the hustle. You know, these girls, some people want to work 4 hours a day, off on Saturdays. Yeah. When I first started waxing, you guys, working 7 days a week. I was, hey, can I come at 10 o'clock? Hell yeah. Are you crazy? Hell yeah. Like, dead ass. Like, that's how I built that first company, which is the money I used to start W Aesthetics. Fun fact. Like I said, there was no funding. Mommy and daddy were not funding. They don't know. When they cut me off, they cut me off for real. And I knew, I like I said, I like money, and I like having my own money. I'm not one of those girls who, you know, who likes to ask. I've always, like, I will go without before I ask you. You know, as you get older, you need to ask for help. I know that. But now that I'm a mom and a wife and all that fun, good stuff, like, you know, but back when I first started, please, I'll wax anybody. You know, I remember people would come in, like the males who started coming in. And then what else happened? A doctor in town, the phenomenal man. I've never even met this man. He started sending men to me to start getting waxed, because a lot of men who shave just like women, but for some reason, the infection rate is higher in men for staph. So men who put their razors down, they'd shave, they get staph, go to the doctor. The doctor started sending them to me. So believe it or not, to this day, I still send his office like flowers or lunch or whatever, like when the holidays come. I've never met this man in my life, this physician, but he sent them to me. So that increased my male clientele even more. And then I told you guys, I look.
Monique is frozen. I think you're moving around too much.
Frozen?
Monique,
Yeah.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
I think you're moving. I think you're moving around a little bit too much for the camera.
Is it still? Am I still frozen?
Now you're not. I think you're moving around a lot.
Sorry, I just love everything waxed, but I'm gonna keep my hands like this.
Good. Well, yeah, I think it just okay. So, that last little part you froze on. I heard the word swingers. What was that?
Yeah. So I told you guys, I need to put my arms down. I'm very inclusive. Like, I don't care. I don't care what you are. I don't care if you're white, black, orange, Republican, Democrat. I don't care. Yeah. If I've had people say, like, come in, I'm an atheist. I'm like, okay. You know, you can't offend me. I don't care. And believe it or not, there's a really, really, you've got to be your house is probably at least 15 million to live in this neighborhood by my office. You know, a referral goes a long way. You know, that referral, that word of mouth goes a long way. So one day I just asked, I'm like, oh, how'd you hear about us? Oh, you know, they were like at our after hours meet. I'm like, oh, what do you guys do? Because when it comes to business, you want everyone, you want to be friendly. You want that client interaction so they feel comfortable, because for some people it is uncomfortable. Male waxing can be very uncomfortable if you don't. I ask everything. Oh, so what are you day trading? You know, I'll ask anything, especially the financial advisors. Where should I move my, I'm serious. Cause I mean, they're already in a situation where
she's like, I got the stock tip, honey.
Yeah. I'm literally not kidding you. I'm like,
they're not gonna lie to you while they're down on the table.
And I tell people all the time, like, the financial advisors, like, hey, like, how should I, hey, like when Bitcoin first came out, hey, what do you think about this? You know, and even now to this day, a lot of the PGA guys, hey, do you have an extra ticket to the Masters? I'm serious. Ask my cousins how they went to the Masters last year.
Hey, if you don't ask, you don't get.
And the worst, and my motto in life and business, the worst thing you're going to say is no. And that's okay.
Yeah.
So as far as the swingers, that referral goes a long way, because on this one particular neighborhood, I mean, everyone talks. And, you know, again, I'll wax the wife, the husband, the third person. I don't care. As long as that card goes through or that cash is cleared, I wouldn't care if you didn't have a face.
I think that that's really important, especially in this like crazy political climate. I hear people saying, I won't wax this, you know, this group or that group or whatever.
It's ridiculous.
We don't talk about, I say that there's a lot of different ways to do things, but there are some things that I'm going to say, I've been doing this for 23 years.
Right.
We don't talk about politics.
No.
In the wax room or religion.
Like, why do you
know, we keep that shit out there because we already hear enough of it. Let's just all treat each other nice. And I don't care who you vote. Well, I don't want to talk about who you voted for on either side. I don't want to know. It's just too hot of a topic.
Yeah, I'm one of those, like, you know, and I will say this, you know, you grow in business too, because to be fair, like, outside of politics, outside of race, outside of religion, people don't even know, you know, and another thing, people don't even know, a majority of them do not know I'm the owner. I stopped, I had to take my name out of the system the first year I was hands-on, because people would literally go to my office and say, oh, I talked to the owner, she said I can get 30% off, or the owner. And so, you know, when I first started waxing, I was by myself for the first year. When I was, you know, finally able to financially bring someone else on, you know, that would happen to her. And then she'd call, like, hey, you know, like, what's the discount? And I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, so I took my name out of the system. Fun fact, my name in Wax Unique was low for and I'm not hands-on that much anymore because of W Aesthetics, but my name was low. That stopped the whole, oh, Monique's the owner, or, you know, they don't want to tip the owner, or, you know, whatever, all that fun stuff. I prefer to be paid, not known. I'm not one of those. I don't care. So I say all that to say, when it comes to the politics, did you really care about that? When if I called Libby's spa and I want to book a Brazilian yacht, did you really care if I was a Republican or a Democrat or black or white or a Catholic, or you didn't even care, you know? And when it comes up in business, that's one thing that it should never come up, and it has come up due to the area that I live in, and I'm in Florida, so a lot of y'all, you know, everybody knows how Florida is. Without even talking about it, you're gonna know how Florida is. And it has come up. I've had people say, Monique, who are you voting for? And this is my favorite one. You know, I'm out here. I will literally make something up, because I don't want to entertain that type of conversation, because I feel the way I feel and you feel the way you feel. And the good thing about being in America, everyone can feel how they feel. But when it comes to business, it will never affect my business. I will never allow political, religion, race to affect my business. So when it has come up, I've always just been like, oh my gosh, like, I have to worry about what's on sale this week at Publix. Like, I am not even worried about, like, this. Like, I will just start, I will sound so drastic. And then I'll be like, but can you believe, you know, that there was traffic, You know, I'm trying, you know, I will make stuff up where I'll be like, did you see that it was cheap to go to Bahamas this weekend? Like, I will make something up. I'm not because I don't care how you feel.
Yeah, I think a lot of estheticians, including myself, and people probably watching this, are like masters at flipping the conversation into something else. So like if someone's talking about something, I'll be like, have you seen Kourtney Kardashian's new haircut? Like I will flip it into something pop culture because I want people to be relaxed and have fun in my space. I don't want people to think that when they came to me, we talked about the election or whatever. You want to.
And again, people they let it mess with their business. For example, a company here, they put a certain political person, long story short, lost a lot of business. The landlord kicked him out. Excuse me. It just became this whole thing. And I'm like, you are on one of the main roads. You you're literally going to ruin your money by broadcasting, you know, I just know I don't get into it. And I like you, I talk about everything. And if I still do I still have I still honestly do take my multimillionaires and my billionaires. I still will go in for them. And I like to talk to them about money. Like, cause you're a multimillionaire, you know, like one of my billionaires came in with a certain type of shirt. So I had to get him in and out really quick because it was, he took it there and he didn't have to. So I was like, come on, let's get you back. I know you got to go home to your wife. And I say to him, I'm like, tell me about your house. I'm like, because you just told me last week you downsized. Like I remember, and I will flip. I'm like, what did you mean you downsized? What is a downsize? And then that gets them to talking about money. I like talking about money, you know, because his downsize is a 5,000 square foot house. You know, to me, that's not a downsize. But if I can flip it and they talk about themselves, I'd rather hear about you.
And talk about something happy too. Like I will ask them about their engagement ring, like if it's a beautiful ring, or their dogs or their kids, or just you want to make it like when you ask someone about their kids, 99% of the time, like their face lights up. They're like, oh, I have 2 boys. I'm like, what are their names? And you can just feel that they're just it's Johnny and Marco, and they're like and then you want it to be positive. You don't want it. I mean, Lisa and I used to go to this hairstylist. We won't say her name. And she would talk about how she was single and the dating life. Now, Lisa and I are single. We're still single. We've been struggling with being single a long time. We don't want to listen to someone else's single bullshit. We have enough of it in our own life. Yeah. We don't want to hear it. So we'd get our hair foiled, and we both got all this hair, this brown hair to make blonde, and she would be telling us these stories.
It's draining.
It wasn't like funny dating stories or like, a funny whatever. It was like, oh, and he doesn't call, and like, oh, and
and it's
he loves me, and it was like, we just couldn't go anymore.
Yeah, no, it's like, bitch, I didn't come here for your sad ass story.
No, absolutely not.
And it's like, I don't want to hear that.
No one wants to hear that.
Don't. No.
And then there's another girl too that I go to sometimes, and she's got a lot of family stuff. And look, we all have family stuff.
Of course.
Every single person listening has family stuff. We've all got money stuff. We've all got health stuff. Different shit. We've all got it. Don't bring that to your table.
No,
don't bring it in the room.
And I think that's another thing people mess up with. Like they get so personal with their clientele, and they add them on social media. You see, people need to remember, at the end of the day, you still run a business. Your client is not your friend. And like I said, a lot of people, they didn't even know until, believe it or not, I had my first daughter last year. Was it last year? In 2021. People didn't even know I was pregnant until probably a week or 2 before I had Monique. Or about my husband. I keep it exactly how it's supposed to be. It's about you. And people also forget in this industry, your client, you let them get too close to you, they think they know you. Then they start, oh, I can't come today, girl. Oh my gosh, remember I was telling you about this last week? Like, now I can't come. At the end of the day, you still have bills to pay. And another thing, it's like, you should always want to keep your business and your personal separate. If I tell people when I teach my classes or when I'm speaking, they ask one of my biggest advice, they're not your friend. When it comes to that money, business is always first, and that's one thing I pride myself on. Believe it or not, I have some clients in my neighborhood, and they don't even know I own Wax Unique, and I would never tell them. And I know when I see them walking, I'm always like, you know, because I don't even want them to even know that I swear to God, like I don't even want them to know that we live near each other, because that's how private of a person I like to be. I keep my business separate, my companies are separate, my house life is separate. You know, I've had people who, my husband's been in my office and they're like, "That's your husband?" I'm just like, kinda. You know, I don't even want you to know him. Like, I don't even want you to know him. Like, I don't, you know, I'm just not that person. And that's another thing why it's so bad nowadays. Everyone wants to put come follow me for the day. You're showing them where you live. You're showing them how you move. You know, you don't know who your client, you mean scammers I've probably had in my office, how much of the mafia has been in my office. You know, I have a guy who calls, "Hey, Monique, it's so-and-so." And I'm just like, "Oh yeah, come on in," because he always pays with cash. You know, you need to know how to move around these people. You know, it's different nowadays. These girls are, I see it on social media. I'm just like, you're letting them in your house. Let me show you my house I just bought. Or let me show you how much I made today. Do you realize how fucking stupid that is? You're literally telling them all the money. Yeah, you're literally showing them, yeah, because I raise my prices, right? Because everyone needs to raise their prices. That's how you sustain in business. I raise my prices. Let me show you how much you guys are tipping me. Let me show you the fucking Mercedes I just bought. And, you know, the new $2,000 extensions. And I'm saying like, this bitch is crazy. You're literally, because if I see that, I'm like, "Oh, bitch, you're going to charge me $300 for my hair. I was paying $250, but now you're driving a goddamn S-Class?" You know, no. As far as people can know about Monique, I don't have it. I'm living in a tent, and that's the best I got. And I'm not playing. These bitches are crazy.
I love it.
You're so funny. So a lot in the group, we get, and this happens in all the groups,
Right.
people get a little crazy with the Brazilians. So they have, and we're going to talk about this a lot in the Wax Summit, which Monique is doing the
Hard Wax Manzillians.
Hard Wax Manzillians. And you're going to see it from beginning to end, how she preps, how she does it in real time. It's
right.
But it's real time for her, and then how she finishes the product. And I talked about this before, the reason why we're doing this class is so that everyone can learn from our mistakes. From every person in the Wax Summit has been waxing for a while. Louise is the newest person, but she is like 1 in a million. She's really gone far in her 3 years.
Killing it.
Yeah, she's killing it because she's worked so hard. Anyway, the point of the summit is to learn from our mistakes so that you guys can skip the line. I call it skipping the line, or fast track your career.
Right.
And so Manzillions is, we're going to talk about the skin games in a minute. Monique is the judge, one of the head judges for waxing. So Manzillions, so men have always historically been great clients. For those of you that are afraid to have men, they come on time, they tip, they don't miss their appointments. Nope. In general. With Manzillions, obviously it's an intimate area, the most intimate area on a person's body. But Monique, so every once in a while, we had one last week in all the groups, like people have an unfortunate incident with someone being a creep or inappropriate. How do you work with that? How do you, and I know some of your tips because I've seen what you're talking about in the class, which I think are fantastic. But how do you navigate inappropriate behavior?
I mean, that's going to be a tough one because what's inappropriate to you may not be inappropriate to me. I've had guys talk, again, it's very hard to offend me, and I'm also a great conversation flipper. But one I can think of off the top of my head, a man was talking about sex to me. And I honestly, again, I honestly am, I'm going to say it wasn't with malicious intent. I'm not going to say he was a creep, but that's not a conversation that's appropriate. I mean, especially with me, I'm just doing my job, you know, but then I'll start talking about random things like, did you hear about that shooting on TV? Or I'm serious. I'm serious. Or I've been like, "Oh, so you're married, right? Or you're not?"
I love that.
Like your wife, does your wife, like, I would love to wax her too. Or I would be like, "Oh my God, did you hear this song? It was in that one movie, Carrie." Like, I'll just start randomly just mentioning things. And it's going to probably have them like, this bitch is nuts. Like, what is she talking about? I've had, or you get a guy who moans a lot, right? To be fair, it's not going to feel good. I think, one, the offensive level, my offensive levels, it's not, you can't offend me if you're inappropriate. To be, in all the years I've been doing this, I've never kicked anybody out. I've always just finished, or I've gone through even faster. And again, don't forget, when you're waxing the scrotum, that shit's not going to feel the best, especially if he has a lot of hair. I'm like, are you ready? Are you ready? I will have, he won't think about that anymore. Are you ready? Because it's going to come. One, boom. And then it's like, I'm like, are you good? You're good. You did it. You totally did it. I'm like, and wait till we do the butt strip. Like I will, and I'm so dramatic with everything. Like I've been like, your wife has got to come in. You're like, let's call her. Let's FaceTime her. Like, and then he's like, no, I don't want to FaceTime her. No. Oh yeah. You're going to shut up real quick with anything nasty. Cause you don't even want your wife. First of all, you're probably cheating. And I bring that up too. Like, how long you been married? Oh, good thing you're not a cheater. I see a lot of cheaters in here. I will start. Yeah. If I've ever had anyone, and again, the inappropriate men in my, it's, let's say 3. In all the years I'm going to say 3. Keep in mind, my type of clientele, they're a higher end type of clientele as well, and you got to keep, people need to also, how do you present yourself in your business? Mm-hmm. Are you like, try to be their best friend, or, hey, how are you? How's it going? Come on, let me get you back here. And I need to get back to work. And I think it's all you put out what you attract. Again, a lot of our type of clientele, a lot of my clientele likes to be very, very private. Like I said, I have a lot of doctors, judges, golfers. We have some celebrities who come. So they're not people who are going to be inappropriate. Some of them are already scared.
Can you speak to the estheticians that have had, because we do get this a lot. We get people saying that, like, a lot of weirdos are calling and asking inappropriate questions. Like, what could you say to the people that aren't in a high-end area that are dealing with, or there's a lot of fear behind it? There's
if you get someone who's calling, and now this I can speak to. I've had a guy who, and just within the last couple of months, when my girls told me, asking very inappropriate questions. I wasn't on the call, but they did call me. I blocked the number. If from that phone call, if you're already feeling uneasy, you're feeling like, oh my, then don't entertain the phone call, block it. There was a guy, I'm trying to think of what she told me, but he kept asking inappropriate questions. Oh, what if I come, or what if, but it wasn't like he was asking out of concern. Cause I have had men ask, like, what if I get hard? It's not a problem. We're all professionals here. And I always tell them, you're not going to be hard long. It's a normal reaction for a male to a female. It is for a straight male to a female, especially if she's pretty. Well, maybe if she's not pretty, I don't know what your type is, and you're going to get hard. So, and that's a normal response. That's where your professionalism has to kick in. It's happened to me several times, but when the wax comes off, that's not a pleasure feeling for most people. There are those who do that other, the SMS, whatever that stuff is called. But you're going to have those that's not going to feel good. And on top of that, they're already going to be their receptors in their brain. Whoa, then their whole body's going limp. So, right. If you get the phone call and you're already feeling uneasy, 1, don't take them. 2, if they come and you're feeling uneasy, 1, you can always reject the service. Please excuse me, we have to end this now. Another thing, I do get this question a lot. Have the men pay first, because most men are not gonna, I can't speak for all the men, but most men are not going to want to pay for their service and then do something inappropriate to the fact where you can stop that service. Also, keep mace in your room. I like in my room, believe it or not, we have like the rolls, the non-woven rolls. Those, the core, I keep the core, and I have 7 rooms in my spa. I keep the core. That core is very, very hard. And I've always told my girls, if anything ever got stupid, hit them. Like, if you ever felt, you have to. Mm-hmm. If you ever felt that core, it's like that thick cardboard. You can't even bend it. It's so hard. But again, we've never had that issue. But if you did, I think girls need to listen to their first gut. I've had people call very nasty on the phone. Oh, can I play with myself? Nope, this is the police station. This is the police. Yeah. But that's also where that level of don't play with me. Like, again, I've never had that guy. The guys who all come to me, and they've been coming to my office for over 6-7 years, are all professional now. And a lot of the guys, believe it or not, add on vajacials. So, you know, what they do, and I don't know what they're doing because I don't stay in the room the whole time with the vajacial. Once the mask sits, you know, I've had some guys, I'm like, did he just play with himself? Or, you know, but again, I've always just been like, but I'm not in there. But to say all that, if you're ever feeling uncomfortable, end the service. Don't ever sit anywhere you're not uncomfortable. If they're on the phone and you're kind of like, oh, that's fishy, we don't accept men, or we no longer accept men. There's ways to not don't ever put yourself in a situation where, you know, you are going to feel like you're going to, one, regret it, or two, you're unsafe. I think it's so much easy. I think people are overthinking. You know, I had a girl DM me last week. So I got this really nasty phone call. Should I take him? No, you just said you had a nasty phone call. This is America. You don't have to accept anything you don't want to. I wouldn't. Like I said, I've had guys, and if they called back multiple times, we've had that. And I've been like, hold on, let me get 911 on the phone. And then like, click, they don't ever call again. Take it there, like be extreme.
Right. What
I love that.
what do you charge for your male Brazilians?
I believe the male Brazilian in my office is 85 or 90.
And you book out 30 minutes?
Yeah. I've been doing it for so long. So I don't book out personally, but because there are some men I still do take, but for my team, yeah, 30 minutes, because what if someone's late? They got to use the bathroom. And just to sanitize the room again, and flip it, get them paid and checked out. 30 minutes is sufficient. Male waxing is not going to take you that much longer. If I ever went back waxing full time, I would probably only keep all my males, not the females.
Wow.
It's such a unserved niche for people.
Yeah.
If you're a male Brazilian, a male esthetician watching, I get so many calls for people asking if I do men, and I send them to another girl or girls in my area because I don't specialize in men. But there's a huge, I know how to do them. I just choose not to. But there's a huge call for male Brazilians, and the price is a little bit higher because it's more work and it is a specialty treatment. You're not supposed to charge different pricing, but it is a specialty service. It's like if you went and got full highlights compared to balayage, yeah,
you have to charge more. I mean, and I think that's silly. People who aren't, in my opinion, I think it's silly when people are not charging more for. Sorry, my daughter just got out of her crib. I can hear her on the damn stairs.
Do you need to go check on her?
No, I don't get paid enough. This is above my pay grade. The fact that this girl just is out of her crib on the stairs right now is above my pay grade. Come on, Monique. But anywho, I think, you know, I've seen girls say I don't want to charge more, or I have heard it's illegal.
Yeah.
To charge. Hi. To charge more. That's not true. It's not illegal. And you have to, just like you said, it's a specialty, and everyone's not going to do this. And here you go. You're a little scammer. How'd you get out of here? You have to charge, because again, what Libbey doesn't do it, right? And I'm 2 miles from Libbey. Libbey sends them to me. Again, no one else in 30 miles does it. You think I'm doing that for $50 or whatever the Brazilian? You think I'm doing it for that? Because I'm not.
Right.
No. And I've never had a male. Thank you. I've never had a male ever question on one of our YouTube videos. There was a male who questioned. He said, that's not fair. Well, it's not fair that I've perfected a craft and made sure it's a very proficient and efficient service that I'm going to charge the same as a Brazilian. Like, that's not fair to me, because if it was fair, then how come everyone doesn't do it? If that's the case,
Exactly.
That's not fair to me. I've spent thousands in advanced education. You know, I even built out the formulas in my company that we use. So that's not fair to me that I should charge the same price as Libbey when Libby's not going to do it. She doesn't want to do it. That's not fair to me.
Yeah.
And advanced education's expensive. And like what Libbey was saying earlier, like there's so much misinformation. You know, Libby's been doing this 23 years. I've been doing this over 10. And Ivana and all these other amazing people, you know, that's not fair to us, because you have people like, in fact, a couple months ago, someone called, oh, I think the Brazilian in my office is like 58. And even that's kind of low. But I tell people when I train them or when they ask me, take in consideration, I own our wax, I own all the products, I own those formulas that we use. I also own my property where my building is. I also own my warehouse. So keep in mind, I don't have like a rent. Some rents have like an increase of 3% or whatever every year. You see, there's certain ways I control costs. So that does help me maintain the price. At the same time, I'm not the lowest price, and I will never be the lowest price, because anyone who comes to my offices, I train them myself. And I pride myself in that. And I pride myself in knowing that anyone who comes to my office or uses, whether they use Wax Unique or W Aesthetics, I offer the highest quality product. So again, that misinformation, oh, I can train you, I've been waxing for 2 years. Have you ever taken a loss in business? I would never want to listen to anyone who's never taken a loss. Because if you've never taken a loss, how do you know how to bounce back and make it a profit? You see how you couldn't help, like, that's not fair. COVID, how do you know how to bounce back from COVID? No. So many people closed due to COVID, you know, whereas I had to I kept everybody paid. You see, so that hurt me. I know. So that hurt me. I know, she totally scammed me. Like, it's definitely nap time, and she definitely tried it, but it's okay. Let me say it. But again, the misinformation, I see girls, oh, I've been waxing for 2 years. How does that qualify you to be a wax trainer? 2 years, you know, how you, this whole make 6 figures. 6 figures is not hard to make. You know, your hustle is how you're going to make 6 figures. How did you profit 6 figures? You know, that's the thing with this misinformation. Oh, take my class, I'll show you how to make 6 figures. That's not hard to do. Profiting 6 figures. Now let's talk about that. Or show me how you came back from a pandemic and built and because everybody lost clientele. I don't care who you are. Everybody lost clientele when COVID hit. People's money got funny. Businesses closed down. You know, tell me how you navigated that, and tell me what you did. You see, and that's where your specialties start coming in. Because I told you I'm in Florida, so you guys know what that means. I'm in Florida, so things were a little different here when COVID hit. You know, half people here didn't believe it was real until someone they knew got sick. Then it was, oh my God, wear a mask, wash your hands. It's real. People are dying. You know, they didn't believe in it here. It took a minute. It took about a year for them to say it was real. I always knew it was real. Just like monkeypox, right? So now that's when I got like a little, whoa, like monkeypox? I have never heard of that. Never heard of COVID either. But how do you navigate your business when there are different issues that have happened to our economy, which now affects the clientele? Because the stock market got funny. All these people who were spending, you know, balling out, like, how did you navigate that? What did you do when you lost 30% of your clientele or 50% of your clientele? How did you navigate your way? So if you've been training 2 years, you couldn't help me. 23 years, you've had to take a loss. There's no way you had to take a loss. You see? So therefore, Libbey is someone who I would say is like, so what did you do? Whereas these girls, 2 years, you know, ma'am, you work 3 days a week. And I mean, if that's money to you, like, what have you done? I, for example, not that I'm bragging, but within the first 2 years of owning Wax Unique, I took the money I made, I bought that building, because I always knew, well, to be fair, I didn't always know, but I knew the mortgage was going to be less than the rent. So that was one way I started controlling price. Again, COVID hit. Crazy. Thank God I bought it. But now rent is ridiculous. I was just saying, I had an interview the other week. I don't know how girls are affording $2,000 and $3,000 rent. When I first got in the industry, there's no way in hell to afford that rent, to try to buy a property, right? Because, you know, that's why I say these girls, it's like, you're 2 years in. What have you done in 2 years? What kind of success have you matched to that? You know, I'm thankful I was able to, one, buy that building, but I bought one of my first houses off that money as well. You know, I was able to take that money and responsibly invest it so that, well, now I have children. But how can I set myself up for the future? In 2 years, you can't help me do that. Even 3 years, you can't tell me how you bought a house. You can't tell me you bought a building. It's not possible. I'll train you. Come, my training's $950. Bitch, my training's $950. So you mean to tell me I need to raise my price?
Yeah, and I think that like most people, I think you really should, if you want to succeed in any type of beauty industry, you really need to make sure you train with someone that's done that service for a really long time. Like, there is not a body I can't wax, or Monique or Ivana, because we've been doing it for so long.
Absolutely.
And so that's why we created this Brazilian Waxing Summit, to talk about what do you do when we get in this situation. And you're not going to find that on brand new YouTubers. You know, at some point you have to pay for your education, and that's when you invest. And when you invest and you get those little tips and tricks from people, that's where you start to make more money, because your skill level goes up too. I'm not saying don't watch the free shit. I'm saying go ahead and do that. But I'm saying at some point, and then when you start taking one class, you're like, I get it. I get it. I see why they're charging. I can't give away all, and I can't teach you 23 years in a YouTube video of 10 minutes.
God, no. And I just said this last week. I had a training last week. You know, people who train with me, that's what you're paying for. You're paying because, one, they're gonna pay. Like, I'm sure Libbey was saying with you, these girls DM you, can you show me how you did this? I'm not showing you that for free. Do you know how many people's skin I have probably lifted or probably burned all those years ago to make sure that nowadays first side note, I'm a big fan of myself. No one's a bigger fan of Monique than Monique. I mean, come on, my daughter sitting right here, her name is Monique. So that shows you how I feel about myself. No one's a bigger fan than me. I don't care. You know, God and my daddy and my mom. I'm my biggest fan. So I know I'm good at what I do. So, you know, a girl sent me last week, can you send me a picture or send me a slight video of how you do this? Ma'am. No. Like, do you know how many people I've burned? Probably. I mean, and we've all burned someone. I mean, when I got into waxing because I jumped into it. Side note, I'm also that person who started the business before, you know, I was even licensed. I had this stupid ass idea. What's not stupid? I take it back, because I built everything. I had this brilliant idea. Let me start this waxing center. I had a boyfriend in Chicago at the time. I'm going to start it here in Florida. I'm going to pay these girls to run it. It's going to be the best. And I'm going to go move to Chicago. Monique, if that's not the dumbest shit ever. We're not even together, okay? Okay? I'm married to a whole other phenomenal man. But, you know, that was how I thought. I thought I would be able to just start this business, make all this money, yada, yada, yada. No, I started the business, realized my dad would always like, Monique, how are you running shit? And you don't even know how to run the shit. And I'm just like, so that's how I went to beauty school. So when you ask how I got into the wax, and people started calling the business. And I'm like, oh my God. And I needed every single dollar because, again, I did not have any extra funding and I was still working corporate. So I started investing in my education, all the different trade shows. I went to all the Florida shows that year and took any wax company you could probably name. If they've ever been at a trade show, I was in their class. So I'm a constant learner. I don't think I'm too good to ever learn, because, you know, I tell people, and Libbey knows this, I bought Libby's wax class because I'm not a sugar person, but I bought it so her soft wax, but it's like it's all of them in one. I bought Libby's class because I'm not a soft wax person, but she's been in this industry 23 years. What I want to see, I'm not going to pay this girl who's been doing it for 2 years. I'm not going to take that class. I'm not going to buy that. But I bought Libby's class because she's been doing it 23 years. I learned something new, you know, because I'm not too good to learn. And I believe in investing in anything I do. If I want to be the best, and I hope everyone feels like they're the best at what they do, you have to act like you're the best. You have to put that front forward. That's right. You too, because you're going to run that office one day. You sit here on this meeting, you should be taking some notes. I'm about to give her a pen right now. Here you go. Take your notes. So, that's where I spend money. I invest in people like Libbey Libbey can teach me something. Libbey can show me, hey, I've done this before. This did not work. Or I watched Libby's Brazilian. I'm not watching these girls who are 2 and 3 years in the game. You can't help me. Like, you can't help me. No, you don't even know what a loss looks. And I say the loss because that's so important in business, those numbers. That's why I say you don't get too friendly with these people, because at the end of the day, those no-shows add up. Those late cancellations add up. My first year, to everybody, my first year in business, my accountant told me I lost over $5,000 in no-shows and late cancellations. Over 5,000. Yeah.
Were you taking credit cards for your appointments then?
Nope.
Yeah, that's the first thing. We were talking about that with Ivana. Every single person watching this, I don't care if you're I don't care where you are in your career. You take credit cards.
Yeah.
It will stop 99.9% of your cancellations.
Yeah.
Don't feel
that's
bad.
Real.
Yes.
It's real, like that. And I tell people, all money, like, I hate to sound like I'm like this money person, but in the years of business, I had to become a money person. I was probably not even, obviously I wasn't that first year. I wasn't really paying attention to the money like I should have, because I was just trying to make money. It wasn't like, again, I had the idea, I'm going to make money overnight. I'm going to be so rich. Shit. I was working 12, 14 hours, busting my ass. I was working corporate too. My undergrad's physical therapy, my master's is public health. So I was the community health director in Palm Beach County. I owned Wax Unique. Thank God that was a remote position. So I'd have my work computer at Wax Unique. I would have, like, sometimes my girlfriend would come and just tap my computer for me, so it would show I'm available. And I was working at night as a nurse because I had to take that money to help pay rent. I remember the first time I was able to pay rent and not have to use like my corporate job money. I remember like calling my dad, like, Daddy, I'm able to pay the rent, and and which was huge for me, because again, I was like busting my ass just to pay rent, like, and water and the electricity. So let alone, these girls nowadays, this whole 6 figures, that is such bullshit. Like, nobody, first of all, 6 figures, you can't navigate in this world anymore with that. I mean, goddamn, people were just complaining about eggs and gas 3 weeks ago. So that shit alone is damn near 6 figures a year. I mean, and have a baby and see what happens.
So we're going to give away. So for those of you that don't know, we have a wax summit on Sunday, March 26th. We have 4 demos, and Monique is doing the male Brazilian from beginning to end. You're going to see her technique. She's going to talk about it, all kinds of other things in it. And right now, we're going to give away a class to the Wax Summit. For those of you that are still here, someone on this live right now is winning a ticket, and I'm so excited.
I'm excited.
What's going to happen is Monique is going to think about a question right now, what she wants to ask, and the first person that types in the correct answer will win it. Lisa will write down your IG, and then she will get you set up. For those of you that don't win, you can email Monique. She does have a few credits for a discount.
Yes.
You can, and if the first few people, whatever she has left, I'm not sure how many she has left, she will give you, yeah, she has a few. She will give you $100 off your class. So that would bring it down to $297. And it's for educators: hard wax, soft wax, sugar, ball, and Manzillion, with playback for 60 days. The reason why we're doing 60 days and we don't give a year, which is what we usually do with our classes, is we want your hands in wax. We don't want you to be like, oh, I'm going to go check out. I know I have a video of Monique. I've got a year. No, we want your hands in wax. So that's why we're only giving you 60 days, which is still a really long time. We want you to get your hands dirty. So we're very excited. This is the first waxing summit that I think has ever been done. Lisa and I picked the educators because first of all, they're fantastic at what they do. They're leaders. They want everyone to succeed. They think there's enough business for everyone. It's training for Brazilians. Yes, there's 3 Brazilian trainings and 1 Manzillion. And the link is in my bio, my link tree. And so the 4 people of us coming together, there's no way you can't come out of this summit with new ideas on everything. And we're trying to cram our whole careers, the best and the worst of our careers, in this 6 hours, so that you guys can, sorry, that's the gardener.
I thought that was me. I'm like sitting there and I'm looking like, is something just, is there like a plane over my house?
It's almost done. Of course, it's on a Monday. So we're super proud of these educators. And, you know, when it comes down to at the end of the day also is your skill level. If people aren't rebooking you, you need to look at your skill level. If people aren't telling their friends about you, you need to you need to honestly look at your skill level and go, you know what, I could do better. And I'm leaving hairs and I'm bruising and I'm afraid I'm going to lift skin and, you know, all the things. Why aren't people rebooking? You need to look at your skill level, which is hard to do, right? It's hard to be like, you know, maybe I need to be better. But look at your skill level and how you level up, how you give yourself a raise, how you raise your prices is partly due to your, you know, what kind of education do you have under your belt? Anyway, enough lecturing. So Monique, what is your question for the person on this live that's going to win a ticket to our Brazilian wax on? It doesn't have to be super technical, just something that you talked about that you think is really important, that you hope that the professionals on this live got understood.
Okay, so I hope this isn't going to be complicated, but this is a question that continuously comes up when it comes to male waxing. So what is one way I would handle an inappropriate phone call to book a Manzillian?
Good. Say it again.
Okay, so what is one way that I, Monique, would handle, and I hope you would handle, an inappropriate phone call for someone calling to book a Manzillian? What is something I said that would help you handle that?
That one, got it. Salty Culture Beauty, block them. Salty Culture Beauty, we will see you on the 26th. We're so excited. Lisa's going to Salty Culture Beauty. She is going to DM you how you get into the class. So for those of you that are looking for that did not win, you can, I'm going to put Monique's email. Monique, what is your best email? WAesthetics.
It's admin at WAesthetics.
Okay, make sure I spell this right. Hold on. Admin. Is that right? AESTHI.
No,
right?
it's admin at WAesthetics.com.
Is that it?
I don't even see. Oh, let me look in here.
AESTHTICS. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
AESTHETICS. Okay, I think that's right. Email Monique and she has some $100 off for this class. We're so excited we're excited to give our class away and we're excited to see you in a few weeks. You are fantastic. We adore you. Lisa,
thank you.
Photo. Wait, we're going to take a picture. Yay! And make sure to follow Monique. If people want to get a sample of your wax, how do they do that? The class is virtual.
Oh, so send me a DM. I'll have a code for them just from this live.
Okay, so send
just DM me for if you want to try any of the products, and I'll hook it up.
And this is a side note. This class we're not pushing any specific. We're not sponsored by any specific wax brand.
Right.
But some of the girls do have their own wax brand, so I would take advantage. Oh, look at little Monique.
Where?
She's trying it today because she knows nap time was 12. So
we'll just blame Auntie Libbey and Lisa.
She's on spring break.
Also, real quick before we go, you want to talk about the wax games?
Oh, the skin game, sure. It is March 16th to the 19th in Atlanta, Georgia. And I mean, if you're a waxer, and it's not even just wax, there's skin, there's lash lift. Ellie Bono will be there. But I'm the director of the waxing category and the judge as well. So the categories are Brazilian legs and brows. You can win $5,000. That's a lot of money considering, I mean, it would be $5,000 towards your business. I keep saying it to everyone. That's a lot of money for you going to show a skill that you've already been doing for so long. So if you feel like you're the best, it's, you know, it's a phenomenal way to, one, grow your business, to network with a lot of other estheticians who probably are in the same state as you, one, or in the same type of mindset or trying to grow the business just like you are. It's a phenomenal way to network with other estheticians, network with other companies, try other companies. And I mean, it's really good for business. If I always tell everybody, look at the girls who participated last year and, you know, look at their pages. I can tell you some people, I won't name their names, but some of the girls who I met last year, you know, those girls won, whether first, second, or third place, came home and raised their price, because that it's like that street credibility type of situation. But they're known, people respect them, people look for them, and now these girls are doing more interviews. They're hiring more people. So it's something to think about when it comes to your business and how you want to navigate it. If you want to grow in a way of, you know, personally, but also business and mentally, because it's also a challenge. Like, you're going to compete in front of a lot of people. You're going to perform a skill in front of a lot of people. You know, you have to grow that way. You'll never just not grow. So I think it's phenomenal for business. I mean, it's done well for my companies. It's done well for a lot of girls who participate. I network all the time with a lot of people. I get along with a lot of people in the industry, because I think it's tough nowadays. Everyone is so bitchy to each other. You know, believe it or not, I mean, I tell people all the time, Ivana and I talk all the time. We are actually very good with each other, and a lot of other wax company owners. So it's a way to just be in the industry and just meet other friends. I think people would think, because I own a wax company, she has one, or, you know, all these other, I believe it or not, we all talk, we all have dinner. So it's one of those ways to just grow with others, just expand your knowledge and your base.
Yeah, and if people don't want to compete, they should go and meet other people. I mean, you just got to remember, there's every single person you see is a potential client, and you need to have esthetician friends. You know,
you have to
because you need each other.
And it's just good for business. I mean, you know, people talk about growing your business. Don't forget that in person and that networking never fails.
Yeah,
that never fails.
Yeah, like when Lisa and I went to just real quick, and then we'll let everyone go because I know this is going long. When we went to Vegas, we didn't really have an agenda. We just wanted to meet people. We weren't selling anything. I took a few classes, but we just wanted to go. And that's when I really connected with Ivana and Monique. You know, we liked them. We talked to them. We talked to a lot of people, but, you know, collaboration is how you get to the next level.
Huge.
You know?
Huge. I'm working on something with another wax company, right? It's not solidified, so I can't speak on it, but another wax company. And it's funny because I've had someone say to me, oh my God, you're friends with them? And I'm like, friends, I have no problems with anybody. I'm just not that person, one, and two, there's enough room, you know, there's enough room for everybody. That sounds so cliche, but there's enough room for everybody. But I mean, there really is. Yeah. I mean, Ivana, when she's in my area, we actually go to dinner, we hang out, we talk about business. I remember telling her some stuff like, that's how your private tuition gets paid. You know, but I get along, and I just think I met Ivana in person maybe like 2 years ago, I think, at this point, you know, but even if you ask her, it was kind of like, we kind of looked at each other and we were like, is she gonna be a bitch to me? Like, and I'm sure she was thinking the same thing, because we were both like, and then I'm just like, oh, hey. And she's like, I want to come up to you. And, you know, there's no, you know, I want the best for her and she wants the best for me, and in the meantime we talk about business. I mean, that's just how, you know, like, that's just one person who I could think of, because I love Ivana. I just think it's tough in this industry because everyone's like a bitch, you know, which is sad, or being catty or being petty, whereas, you know, I feel like she already texted me. I don't know if that was Ivana or not, but, you know, that's just how we are. Like, hey, did you see this? Or, hey, what do you think of this? You know, just doesn't matter. Get along with everybody. Grow that network. You never know. What if Ivana and I do something together one day? You never know.
Yeah. So go to the skin games, even if you don't want to participate. Go up to these educators. Go say hi to Monique. Don't be afraid of them.
Come say hi. Let's take a photo.
Go say hi to all of them. I know a lot of our friends are going to be there, and you will see Monique and her amazing Manzillion on the 26th. Email her if you want a discount code, and have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, everyone, for popping on.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye.